Testing. Yeah, I don't want to use this because the sound is awful, but hold on. Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. All right, can you somebody just tell me if you can hear me? You should hear me now. Okay. Fucking StreamYard, that's all I'm going to say. It just my speaker wasn't working. And I got it to work briefly, but I didn't want it to work by using the headphones. The quality is like 10 times worse. All right, let's start again. Welcome to Through a Glass Darkly Radio. You're listening to us on United Public Radio. And the song that you heard at the beginning was Mark of the Doomslayer by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Okay. So I'm going to have to repeat everything I said because StreamYard was not telling me I was muted. It's just for whatever reason, my Yeti speaker was not working. So StreamYard was like, yeah, it's all good. All good, boss. Everything's fine. Anyway, sorry. I get pissed off when stuff like that happens, when all the signals are telling me it's good. All right. So what I was going to say is today, I'll do all the same motions. A few things to talk about at the beginning before I get started. The purpose of this is to focus on this book called The Eighth Tower and books like it, things like that, by John Keel. It's kind of on the heels of me reading Operation Trojan Horse. And then that'll be kind of the discussion today. But I'm going to first go through some of the comments, run through that, and then talk about kind of a weird little experience. Also, I showed you the other thumbnail and this thumbnail. Again, it's not final, but people have complained enough about the Russian chemical naval infantry image that I said fine, I'll change it, but I still have to do. I like the color palette. I don't want to change the color palette. I like that. So because I have merch that's obviously fits in the color palette, and so that's kind of inviolable. Other than that, I'm open to kind of changing stuff. So it looks like Pavlos thinks it's good. That's good. All right, I appreciate that because he never complained about it. So I'm more concerned about the people who didn't complain or who were like, "What the heck." So okay, so there's a bunch of like, I hear nothing, I hear nothing. Let's see. All right. Yes, ultra terrestrials. Yes, super spectrum. All right, I'm just getting through. Okay. All right, so we're back to sound good again. Okay, everybody's yes. All right, thank you everyone for being better sensors than StreamYard is. Oh, and the other thing too is when I switched everything, it wasn't working again because StreamYard then put me on mute. Like it was like super helpful. They're like super helpful StreamYard. Really appreciate it. Like 2 weeks ago, it was that stupid fucked up countdown music, and now it's just like, yeah, you're not gonna have sound, but we're gonna tell you have sound. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I'm like furious about this. Okay. That these things happen. It's kind of how you deal with it. That is what matters, right? So I shouldn't lose my temper like I did, but I did, and it's but it's all good. You just gotta always keep working the problem, right? Always keep working the problem until you solve it. Hey Joe, good to see you. How will Trump look at the end of this with Russia and Ukraine? I mean, I, our entire reality is fake. So like I look at the world through like really jaundiced goggles at this point. So Woo Writers DG is writing, how about Zelensky going back to the minerals deal? How will Trump look at the end of this with Russia and Ukraine? I mean, the two sides have exhausted each other. It's not like there's going to be a power change or anything like that. It'll just be funny to watch the Europeans try to go in there and fight the Russians because the Russians will smoke them. Like they'll just smoke them. So yeah, I appreciate that. The owl was a specific request. Hey, thank you, Emilius. I appreciate you. Oh God. Elon said if Starlink went down, Kiev would fall. Then he faced backlash from Poland. Oh boy. Yeah, Keel and Valet's book, probably Passport to Magonia, is probably the one you're talking about, are pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I just don't like the fact that they can't account for $50 billion that we sent them. Like, after that, you're done. Like, you're done. I'm sorry, you're done. Like, yeah, Fast Mama Jamma, like, we're not going to get the FBA files. We're not going to get the Epstein stuff out. It's all smoke and mirrors. Like, the entire elite structure has been compromised. That stuff's never coming out. It's just not. I'm super cynical about this. Like, my government has lied to me since the day I was born, and they're not going to start telling the truth anytime soon. They're just an oppressive power that forces you to pay taxes at the barrel of the gun and then doles out all that money to itself. It's a mafiocracy, is what Lynn Buchanan would say. Yep, it's 100% all smoke and mirrors. Yikes. You probably shouldn't be commenting while you're driving on the interstate while it's raining. I really don't want you to get into an accident. Please, 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 please stop if you're gonna before you send anything. Two people handling our money was always suspect. Yeah. Yeah, well, the world's about to find out what what Leviathan, what Hobbesian world they actually live in without the American taxpayer to support them. Yeah, it won't change the numbers. Nothing changes the numbers, right? Like it's just, but I appreciate the optimism. I don't think it'll change the numbers, but because people have to click on the video first, right? So I mean, I hope I'm wrong, Overlander BC. I hope I'm wrong, but Overlander BC for those on the radios, a nice background change. I remember the convo that led to it. Be interesting to see if it changes the numbers. We'll see. It could also change the numbers in the opposite direction. Like it could be the silent majority, like the other one better. I doubt that's the case. I actually think it's better, but I have to proceed very cautiously, so I can't make radical changes. So this is close enough to the other one where it still kind of captures the themes, but we will see. Yeah, it's definitely a facade. I don't even know if like humans are in charge at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like demons or like uh ETs or something. Like I have or some advanced Atlantean civilization lives under the ground or in the oceans. It sounds crazy, but I would not be surprised. I mean, it's just yeah, the amount of irrational, arrogant, and cult think that Ukraine funding supporters demonstrate is a sign of a bigger problem. Yeah, propaganda works, and undoing it is almost impossible. Yeah, propaganda definitely works. Eyes in the Woods is saying, I don't want to give any of these clowns my attention or energy. The Pentagon can't account for money either. They pit us all against each other, so we won't notice. Yeah, I agree. The silent majority vote for Biden. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I wonder what happened to the 80 million people that voted for him the first time. It's kind of, where did they all go? It's like, 9 million people just, where'd they go? Who are they? I don't know. Let's see. All right. All right. So we got through that. So I want to recount just facts. This is all just facts. Okay. Interpret them as you might. Okay. So I'm also having ChatGPT. Whenever I ask it a question about synchronicities and stuff, it's logging it now. It's now it asked me if it could keep track, and I said yes, that would be helpful. Yeah, maybe whatever that power pyramid is. So Overlander BC is saying humans aren't at the top of the power pyramid. No way. We're too short-lived to carry out this long term of a master plan. Yeah, I'm not saying it out loud because I'll get banned. I'll get banned from the mandarins at YouTube. But yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. Yep. Yeah, Trump was president, then Epstein was unalived. Okay. All right. So, all right. What was I going to say? So, a few things. So, I decided, you know, a few nights ago to watch this movie called A Dark Song. Now, A Dark Song is about an occult ritual or working called the Abramelin working. So Abramelin, right? So there's a book I actually have called "The Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage." So it came from it was recommendation by Nathaniel Gillis. So anyway, this movie, it's a horror movie, but it's about this woman and man who engage in the Abramelin working. The Abramelin working was based on a ritual that was developed by Abra Maleen the Mage, was kind of a Jewish mystic who lived in Egypt, and Abraham of Worms or something like that. Kind of found this, brought it back, and it was found in some Frenchman's manuscript collection, and obscure thing. Anyway, this is a ritual that Crowley attempted and did not complete, and apparently, if this is one of those things, it's kind of like an exorcism. If you start it, you have to take it to completion, or else you're going to be haunted for the rest of your life, or whatever. So it's kind of like one of those things. Like you have to, but it's like a months long ritual, takes 6 to 18 months. I'm not saying I'm embarking on this because I'm not. Modern life does not permit it, but where you basically go to a isolated location, you engage in meditation and prayer and all this stuff, and and at the end of it, you're to like basically summon your holy guardian angel. Okay, whatever that means. So I watched this movie, and then at the very end, as it's ending, I'm like, oh, this it was really interesting, etc. I look down at the time, and it says 11:11. I'm like, that was weird. So I just said like a quick prayer, show me a sign if this has any meaning, or if it's just a meaningful coincidence. Of course, there was an owl at night. I don't hear owls every night, but that night I heard an owl very clearly. And then today, saw hawks flying around the house, ravens flying around the house. Went out to the park, raven flying around my head, like getting pretty close as they usually do. And then I found, a raven feather on the ground. Okay. And I checked with ChatGPT. You can check too. It's shiny. It's black. It's a corvid feather. I don't see crows in the park, but I always see ravens. So it's very according to the ChatGPT, it is a raven feather. All right. So I don't know what any of it means, but that's the sign. So, or maybe, I don't know. That's my interpretation. Take that's the sign part out of it, but everything else is just factual. That's how the events happen. So just very strange stuff. Don't know what any of it means. Don't know how to interpret it. And it could all be just meaningful coincidence instead of synchronicity. Anyway. Let's see. All right, I'm just going through. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's creepy, but it's a good movie. Yep. Beats by Jiro says it's the holy guardian angel working. Yep. Emilius is saying legendary times are ahead. We are to see if humanity continues to let others push them around. I am not an expert on the Abramelin ritual, but Big Abu is saying, or Big Bo is saying, why do you think Solomon has so many seals? Probably because he trapped so many demons, but I don't know the answer to that. I'd be curious what the answer is, but that would be my guess, because I know that he figured, whatever the lore has it, that he figured out how to trap demons and force them to do his bidding. Again, this is like occult lore. It's probably not real, but that would be my guess, the answer to that question. Yep, 11:11. What's Holy Guardian Angel comes through. Interesting. Okay, the other day I closed my eyes. I threw. If anyone can hear me, raise your hand. Two people raised their hand. It's the refs at the basketball game. Yeah, I that's not how my life works. It's basically put in 10 times the effort to get the same output as the average person. That's the way my life works. Interesting. Spiritual ascension, you said, I'm getting you have a lot of avian DNA. Yeah, but like how and why? I definitely feel affinities with like an affinity with raptors for sure. Yeah, I saw like there was a hawk today that literally like flew over my yard and just paused and was not flying forward, was not flying backward, was not flying sideways, was just hovering on the like I guess the wind drifts. Wasn't flapping its wings, it was just kind of like sitting there hovering, right? Apparently they do that. It's not like anything strange. It's just depending on the wind. The wind drifts were enough that I guess it kept it aloft by just having its wings open, but it literally was not moving forward, not moving sideways, not moving backward. It was just like fixed in its position, kind of just moving like that. Yeah, it could just be just a nod. Okay, Gray House writing this evening. I have isolated video capture of Vegas aliens incident that show a Toyota 4Runner and the entire Caterpillar payloader materialized from a gas. Ooh, that's weird. Coincidence is a myth. Everything is part of an enormous mathematical complexity. I think you're right, Overlander. Yeah, I agree with you. Spiritual ascension. Nothing does happen by coincidence. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel. Gray Al, can you please put your YouTube channel down in the comments section? I am totally comfortable with you promoting on my channel. In fact, I want you to promote on my channel. I am totally cool with that. Of course it resonates. It's been resonating for a very long time. Spiritual ascension writing. Does that resonate with you? Of course. I mean, you saw the owl in the countdown at the very beginning. Like, I didn't pick that footage from stock footage. I recorded that footage personally. That owl landed on my back fence, and I walked up to it and spent 30 minutes to an hour with it recording. I would say him. I just felt like it was male, but it as long as I didn't get closer than 5 feet, it let me record. It was a great horned owl. Like that owl, like I literally recorded that owl, and I have 1,000 photos of it elsewhere. So hence the owl behind me, right? The great horned owl. Yep. 100% Beats by Jiro. Abramelin is misunderstood. It's for super religious. It's a for super religious Jews, but picked up by characters like Crowley and death metal bands started making songs about it. That's right. He was super, super religious. I think he was like a Kabbalist. Yeah, spiritual ascension. I'm still trying to figure out what this affinity with raptors is. It's I mean, I see them. If I go outside, I will see a hawk within 5 minutes. Like a hawk or a raven every time. Let's see. There you go. Gray Owl 9 at YouTube is the place to go for his vids. So Roger Claiborne is writing, Solomon probably created demons. I suspect summoning is actually forming entities to do your will. Yeah, it could be thought forms or tulpas. It's possible. You got to use time travel. Ask Dr. Dr. Nicola Townsend Brown from Back to the Future, what Overlander said. No, Gray, I haven't had time. I've been working like a dog as always. Thank you, Spiritual Ascension. You're writing, this is my second time here, but yes, it all ties in. Yeah, if you have any more information you want to share, I'm all ears. I have no way to validate what you're saying is true or anything like that, but anything that adding more information to the mix doesn't hurt. So I appreciate anything you might be able to pick up. Because this is your second time here, but I've also run some experiments where I tried to quote unquote summon an owl a third time, and one did not show up until that night. So I don't count that one. So I probably 2 for 3. The other 2 times they show up within 15 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, it could have been, and it showed up at a weird time. It was, I think it was like the like between the autumnal equinox and the first, I think, lunar, or the first full moon after the equinox, and it was like the day before the feast of the archangels. So whatever that means. Oh, they definitely want to cover the Vegas aliens incident. You can tell because they're sending like people to discredit Scott Roeder because he's the only person talking about it. They definitely want to cover that one up. There's no doubt in my mind. Spiritual Ascension, I do not feel like I'm very tuned in. I want to be like because I don't know why all these birds are around. It could just be, I mean, I live right next to a park. That's the skeptic's answer, right? But I don't know what I'm tuned into or why or what the purpose of it or the point of it is. Even though I want to know. I don't, I'm still struggling with it. All right, so Emilius is writing, the hawk represents something you need to focus on and be more precise. Time to build speed and seize your goals from the highest heights of the hawk from the animal perspective. Interesting. By the way, have you all ever seen a hawk dive? It is awesome. Like as they're flying, what they'll do is they'll like kind of fly up and then they'll just bring in their wings and then just drop like a rock. It is amazing. I have a few pictures of it, but I'd have to dig through. But it is absolutely amazing. Maybe get an EEG sensor and see what happens in the head when you summon owls. Maybe. But again, I'm kind of 2 for 3. If you're really generous, you could say 3 for 3, but like the time span between when I tried it when the owl showed up was maybe 3 to 5 hours or 3 to 6 hours. So I don't think that counts. One did show up though, but I didn't see it. I just heard it. Yeah, it's definitely only for Amelia's, but you will know what it truly means specifically for you since it was in fact only for you. I think that's fair. Yeah, it could be. Oh, Beats by Jiro, whereabouts in NorCal? Because you might be near me. I'm not going to say for obvious reasons so that like some, crazies don't show up at my house, but whereabouts in NorCal? Because that's effectively where I am. Um I'm not on the peninsula, but I'm across the bay, close enough to SF though. Yeah, I've been trying. I should probably read how to do it because they do interact. They do interact with you for sure. Once I had one land on my balcony and start calling at me, and then of course I had Edgar Allan Poe's short story collection to my left, so that was kind of weird. Yeah, I definitely am not aware of it. I may be tuned in, but I'm not really. I don't really know why or how. All right, so when you first see something out of corner of you and try to figure out what it is, your thoughts seem to have an effect. I noticed. Say more. Do you mean like a person's like any person seem to have an effect? Yeah, yeah. I've heard peanuts and nuts. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's just it's all about momentum, right? By lowering their moment of inertia, right, or like by pulling in their wings, they become more. Um, there's no reason for them to stay aloft. Yeah, owls are absolutely amazing. That's very fascinating. All right, so run with me on this, Emilius. This could mean nothing, but you said I saw a black horse in a picture frame in a future timeline I went to. I'd be interested to see what y'all think of that. A future timeline I went to. I mean, yeah, I mean the could be like the Four Horsemen, one of the Four Horsemen. Um, the name of my regiment when I was in the army was the Black Horse. So I don't know if that has any significance or if it means anything or if that's a synchronicity, but that was the 11th Arm. Oh, that's weird. That's weird too. I never picked that one up. So my military unit was the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, and the symbol was a black horse. Uh, but the 11 is was lost on me until this exact moment. Yeah. By the way, crows remember your face, or corvids do, so they know exactly who you are. Yeah, Emilius, I have two videos. Stefan Schwartz talked about that, as did Lynn Buchanan in a remote viewing session. He saw about three-quarters of humanity dying off. Yeah, Beats by Jiro. I'm in the north. I'm in the northern. I'm in Northern California. So, oh, Pacifica. I thought you said Pacific area. Oh yeah, you have a lot of fog there. Super foggy, and you're like right next to what is it? What's the pay? It's like the large one of the like the entire like there's more dead people than living people. Colma, is it Colma? Is that what it's called? The city of Colma has more dead people than living people because it's a giant. It's got like a giant graveyard there. Yeah, it's definitely subconscious. I wish I could make it more conscious, but yeah. Well, the owl that landed on my fence was just already there. I just noticed it and went out to it. I mean, it was already there, just hanging out in the fence. Yeah, that would make maybe make sense. Huh. I know. I'm the one who's talking like normal people would consider. I said some crazy things, but it's fine. It says so. Pavlos is writing when a hawk is soaring high. If it turns just the right angle, it can blend with the sky or sun glare, making it momentarily invisible. As it shifts position, it suddenly reappears like a UFO. Yeah, I noticed that hawks are very intuitive, so they would do things that we would do with intent in the military. So in the military, when we would attack, right? Because again, I ran war games. We would always attack when the sun was at our backs, like during sunrise or something like that, so that like not only do you have to deal with us coming at you, but you also have to deal with hawks. Do that intuitively, like they'll dive with the sun behind their back, so their prey don't see them coming. Okay, spiritual ascension is in Australia, and Amelius is saying hair holds memory, so you're onto something. I in the woods. Oh wow, yeah. I've seen ravens and hawks fighting in the sky before. It's pretty funny because the hawks are. I mean, the ravens are just messing with the hawks because they're smarter. Yeah, Colma. Yeah, the city of the dead. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it has been nice lately. It's been really nice weather lately. Well, I'm like way behind on comments. Yeah, that's true. If you assume it's positive, it definitely feels positive. All right, I'm gonna try to get. Oh, another comment. Almost, almost. All right, I'm gonna get started on. I'm like an hour late, but that's fine. All right, all right. So we're gonna talk John Keel's The Eighth Tower. All right, so paranormal theories, conspiracies, and metaphysics. So for those who don't know who John Keel is, John A. Keel, who was born in 1930 and died in 2009, was a journalist turned UFO researcher known for probing the strange and unexplained. Early in his career, he traveled through the Middle East and Asia investigating magic and mystery for his first book, Jadoo, in 1957. He served in the U.S. Army and was even trained in psychological warfare, honing an understanding of propaganda and deception. By the mid 1960s, Keel became deeply involved in ufology, logging thousands of miles across 20 states to interview UFO witnesses in depth. His extensive fieldwork convinced him that UFO sightings were intertwined with psychic and folkloric phenomena, leading him to question the conventional aliens from space narrative. This skeptical, investigative mindset set the stage for the radical theories he would later present in The Eighth Tower. I don't actually think they're that radical. But Keel's most famous case was 1966 to 1967, like the 1966 to 67 Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which he chronicled in the Mothman Prophecies in 1975. During that investigation, Keel encountered not just a winged monster, but a whole constellation of oddities: UFOs, men in black, prophetic dreams, and other paranormal events. In fact, Keel himself coined the term men in black in a 1967 magazine article, reflecting his immersion in UFO lore. Keel came to feel that these various phenomena were connected, as if orchestrated by an unseen force. The Mothman Prophecies was a case study of high strangeness. However, Keel had gathered far more theoretical material than could fit into that narrative. The Eighth Tower, published in 1975 and in the UK as The Cosmic Question in 1978, became the outlet for these extra insights. In essence, The Eighth Tower is a disturbing follow up to the Mothman prophecies, derived from material left out of the Mothman book. It expands upon Keel's personal experiences and findings, proposing a grand unifying theory for the paranormal. Okay. All right. So by the late 1960s, Keel's investigations had led him to break ranks with mainstream UFO researchers. Like contemporaries J. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée, he grew doubtful that UFOs were simply spacecraft from other planets. Keel observed an astonishing overlap between psychic phenomena and UFOs, noting that UFO encounters often had hallucinatory or subjective aspects similar to earlier folklore. So fairy encounters, religious visions, etc. He concluded that the extraterrestrial hypothesis, ETH, was untenable and instead began formulating an alternative explanation that drew on occult ideas. For instance, he borrowed the term ultraterrestrials from occultist N. Meade Lane, who had speculated that UFO beings were shape-shifting entities from a hidden etheric realm rather than outer space. Keel's own ultraterrestrials, however, were not benevolent space brothers. They behaved more like tricksters or even demons, manipulating humans for unknown ends. These ideas first surfaced in Keel's early 1970s books like UFOs, Operation Trojan Horse, that's 1970, and Our Haunted Planet, 1971. By the time he wrote The Eighth Tower, Keel had refined his own theory that all these bizarre encounters, UFOs, monsters, ghosts, and more, might stem from one interconnected phenomenon. His experiences in Point Pleasant and years of paranormal sleuthing directly inspired the core question of The Eighth Tower. Is there a single intelligent force behind all religious, occult, and UFO phenomena? Keel's answer would challenge conventional beliefs and set a conspiratorial tone for the book. All right. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick check. Okay. Just going through. Oh, wow. So Spiritual Ascension said, I had asked my higher self before about sickness coming, and I got that billions would die in 2 years. That's the way you have a wipeout like that, is with a pathogen. Okay. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. So quick overview of the Eighth Tower. So in the Eighth Tower, on ultra-terrestrials and the superspectrum, Keel lays out a sweeping hypothesis to explain all matter of paranormal and supernatural occurrences. The book suggests that seemingly disparate phenomena, ancient gods and miracles, ghosts and demons, folkloric little people, cryptid creatures, and modern UFOs are actually varied manifestations of a single source. Keel posits that humanity has been haunted and influenced by a higher order intelligence throughout history. In a dramatic thought experiment, he invokes an Oriental legend of 7 towers inhabited by evil magicians chanting the world toward ruin. Then asks, what if there is an 8th tower, a tower of infinite, not necessarily good or evil power, controlling our destinies? This 8th tower, in Keel's theory, is a cosmic puppet master, an unseen force that uses paranormal manifestations as tools to manipulate human beliefs and events. We humans may not be independent beings at all, but the unwitting creations and slaves of this force. Such a premise gives the 8th tower a conspiratorial flavor. It implies we are caught in a celestial game played by intelligences beyond our perception. Keel's writing structure in the 8th Tower weaves historical anecdotes with theoretical discussions. He surveys incidents of unexplained lights, entities, and miracles from ancient times to the present, arguing that people in each era interpreted a core phenomenon in the guise of their cultural beliefs. The book's tone is ominous and challenging, Keel intended to reveal what he saw as the quote-unquote shocking truth of our position and fate in the cosmic scheme. Across its chapters, the Eighth Tower advances a few key concepts that underpin its arguments: the superspectrum, the ultraterrestrials, and the idea of a grand deception or illusion being perpetrated on humanity. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the superspectrum theory. At the heart of Keel's model is the concept of the superspectrum. In Keel's own words, this is, quote, this is a hypothetical spectrum of energies that are known to exist, but that cannot be accurately measured with present-day instruments. It is a shadowy world of energies that produce well-observed effects, particularly on biological organisms, namely people. This superspectrum is the source of all paranormal manifestations, from extrasensory perception to flying saucers, little green men, and tall, hairy monsters. In other words, Keel suggests there's a broad range of invisible energies or frequencies beyond the familiar electromagnetic spectrum. Just as visible light is only a small slice of the EM spectrum, our normal perception is only a narrow window into a much larger, shadowy world of reality. The superspectrum encompasses everything from psychic phenomena to UFOs, unifying them as different manifestations of the same energy field. Crucially, Keel argues that paranormal phenomena are transdimensional or extradimensional in nature. UFOs and creatures like Bigfoot are not solid, permanent beings from another planet. Rather, they are temporary intrusions from the superspectrum into our visible realm. According to the Eighth Tower, these entities or objects consist of energy from the upper frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum. They only become visible or tangible when they downshift into the narrow band of energy that human senses can detect. Keel even included a chart of the superspectrum in the book, emphasizing his quasi-scientific approach to mapping the unseen. By this logic, a glowing orb, a ghostly apparition, or a silver flying saucer might be all the same phenomenon operating at different frequencies. This framework attempts to give a single explanation for the diversity of supernatural reports. They are different masks of the same actor, so to speak, all emerging from the superspectrum. Who or what is behind these manifestations? Well, Keel introduces ultraterrestrials as the intelligences lurking in the superspectrum. He deliberately coined ultraterrestrial to contrast with extraterrestrial. In his view, UFO occupants are not aliens from another planet, but ultra-human or non-human entities that share our world unseen. These beings, Keel asserts, are energy-based and highly manipulative. They can assume whatever form they want to suit the cultural context of the witnesses. This leads to one of the Eighth Tower's bold claims, which is, throughout history, ultraterrestrials have staged theatrical events to mislead humanity. Keel argues that many erroneous belief systems, from medieval folklore about fairies and vampires to modern beliefs in extraterrestrial aliens, have been fostered by these shape-shifting tricksters. For example, the same ultra-terrestrial force might appear as a fairy to a 15th century peasant, as an angel or demon to a religious visionary, or as a spaceman to a 20th century UFO witness, each time reinforcing the prevailing beliefs of that era. Monsters, poltergeists, mystery airships, holy apparitions, you name it, are all in Keel's mind, are masks of the ultra-terrestrials employed to manipulate perception. This theme gives the Eighth Tower a distinctly paranoid edge. Keel depicts the ultra-terrestrials almost as cosmic tricksters or pranksters or puppets. Quote, the objects and apparitions do not necessarily originate on another planet and may not even exist as permanent constructs of matter. It is more likely that what we see what we want to see and interpret such visions according to our contemporary beliefs, Keel wrote. He suggests human witnesses are easily fooled by these phenomena. We impose our own narratives. For example, it's a ghost, or it's an alien spaceship, or something far stranger. The title, The Eighth Tower, itself alludes to an almost conspiratorial controller, a hidden tower of power that isn't God or Satan, but could play both roles, influencing events from behind the scenes. In Keel's view, we might even be biologically tuned to the ultraterrestrials. At one point, he likens people to radio-controlled beings manipulated by transmissions from the superspectrum. Such ideas blur the line between physical reality and mental influence, suggesting the entire fabric of our reality could be a cleverly engineered illusion. Keel's treatment of UFOs in the Eighth Tower is deeply revisionist. He forcefully rejects the extraterrestrial hypothesis, arguing that UFO sightings are just a modern mask of the ultra-terrestrial deception. This stance put him at odds with the popular idea of the time that flying saucers were alien visitors. By 1975, government studies like Project Blue Book had officially dismissed UFOs as not posing a threat or being worthy of further research, a conclusion Keel and others found premature. While many UFO buffs suspect a government cover-up of alien truth, Keel took a different tack. He believed the phenomenon itself was the cover-up. In other words, the real secret was not some military file, but the very nature of the entities behind UFOs. The Eighth Tower speculates that UFO waves and other unexplained outbreaks might even be orchestrated to awe and so distract us from the real machinations behind the scenes. It's a heady conspiracy theory in which the conspirators aren't human agencies at all, but ultra-terrestrial forces staging stage dramas intended to influence human culture. That said, Keel did weave in some classic conspiracy motifs. He discussed the Men in Black, mystery, ominous figures who silenced UFO witnesses, which some believed to be government agents, but Keel suspected were themselves paranormal in origin, perhaps ultra-terrestrials in disguise. He also noted patterns of official disinterest or denial regarding high strangeness cases, implying that authorities were out of their depth. Throughout the book, there's an undercurrent that powerful secrets about our world are known to a few or to the ultra-terrestrials themselves, while the masses remain in the dark. One striking passage suggests that long ago, the real gods, the entities, withdrew from openly interacting with humanity, and only certain savvy humans learned to communicate with them, founding the ancient forbidden religions in the first place. This hints that secret cults or occult orders throughout history may have knowingly worked with the hidden forces, an idea that flirts with common conspiracy tropes of secret knowledge. The book stops short of alleging specific government programs, but its implication is clear. The truth about paranormal phenomena is being obscured, whether by deliberate cover-ups, ridicule, or the phenomena's own trickery. In summary, the themes of the Eighth Tower include a grand unified paranormal theory via the superspectrum, the notion of ultra-terrestrial puppet masters shaping human belief, and a pervasive sense that reality is not what it seems. Keel backs up these themes with a barrage of anecdotes and case studies from ancient myth to Cold War UFO flaps, all interpreted through his unorthodox lens. He challenges the reader to consider that everything is connected, a bold conspiratorial tapestry tying together religion, folklore, psi abilities, creature sightings, and flying saucers into one bewildering meta-phenomenon. John Keel was not alone in rethinking paranormal mysteries in the 20th century. The Eighth Tower sits in a tradition of alternative, paranormal, and conspiracy literature that questions official narratives and explores hidden realities. Here we highlight a few authors and works with themes or views comparable to Keel's, such as Jacques Vallée and Charles Fort, as well as others who delved into ultra-terrestrial-like ideas. So Charles Fort's Fortean writings, right? That's where the term Fortean comes from. Keel openly drew inspiration from Charles Fort, the early collector of anomalous data. Fort's books, for example, The Book of the Damned in 1919, cataloged bizarre occurrences, falls of frogs, mysterious lights, odd creatures that orthodox science ignored. Fort, like Keel, speculated wildly on what these anomalies meant. In one famous line, Fort wrote, "I think we're property. Once upon a time, this earth was no man's land. Now it's owned by something. That something owns the earth. All others warned off." This notion that unseen other owners or extraterrestrial landlords claim Earth's prefigures Keel's "we are creations and slaves of the Eighth Tower" idea. Fort even mused that our Earth is a farm and we are someone's livestock. Such imagery of humans as pawns or cattle of higher beings became a recurring theme in later paranormal conspiracy lore, sometimes dubbed the prison planet or planet as experiment theory. Keel's vision of ultra-terrestrial staging deceptions is very much in Fort's spirit of cosmic suspicion. The term Fortean came to describe this whole approach of embracing damned data and suspecting that consensus reality might be a carefully managed illusion. Keel's work, especially The Eighth Tower, is often considered Fortean in its sweeping inclusion of all odd phenomena and its readiness to propose a grand, if unsettling, unifying explanation. All right, let's take, once again, a quick breather. Let's see what folks are saying. Let's see. I'm just trying to find where this. Hold on. All right, here we go. All right, Emilius, a while back wrote, I think that that's how most souls will leave because most aren't going to want to be on Earth when it gets super dense with strict laws and unable to express their freedom like in old days. That's why many choose to die by sickness. Interesting. Yeah. Hey, thank you, Alexis Stanton. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very hard to find my YouTube channel because YouTube is not helping. So Alexis, please spread this far and wide because like the YouTube algorithm is not a kind mistress. Huh. So Eyes in the Woods is writing, I collaborate with people using electromagnetic fields, radio frequency detectors, and IR and full spectrum cameras. They have caught amazing evidence in film. It's a broad group, 1.5 and something. Let's see. All right, Roger Claiborne is running. If reality is created by consciousness, then we are born into the consciousness of something that came before the first man or even our solar system. Man may have infantile potential of creation. Ice in the Woods continues. They seem to find what they are looking for. They capture cloaked-like figures. Some see UFOs. I capture orbs. I think they're all the same thing, like Keel. Yeah. Yes, they are. Thank you, this year. I appreciate that. Fred, I probably have seen the documentary After Death about NDEs. I probably have seen it. By the way, I finally got a response from Dr. Eben Alexander, so I interview him the 24th of March. So, which just means that his video will probably appear sometime in April because I'm running out of videos. My inventory is starting to decline. But I have 2 interviews on the books, and hopefully that'll get me 4 episodes. We'll see. But I do need more people to interview. But I like to interview people I haven't interviewed yet, which is hard. Yeah. I think this is the first book Keel wrote where you could see the cracks in Keel. This business can bring you down if you don't stay grounded. I think that's fair. Yeah. Keel wasn't deep and had almost no community. And God knows if the intelligence community also wasn't messing with them. Dennis Duncan saying I was dropped off on this planet. Yeah, I think you're right, Roger. Modern distractions likely exist to keep us from developing our consciousness potential. Prisoners are forced to share cells, so they are distracted from growing theirs and escaping through their walls. Well, it's same thing with like we all have jobs to keep us busy. Hey, Philip, good to see you, man. Okay, Philip, I have to ask because I don't like we traded this in comments, but when I tried that experiment where I quote unquote visited one of your dreams, having been on the other side of that, was that just a coincidence the way things played out, or do you think it actually worked? Because I think we tried it twice. I kind of announced I was going to try it. Obviously, I have no memory of it, but it seemed. But if you want to share that with folks, because it was an experiment, right? So anyway, just throwing that out there. Huh. Hermitage is popular for spiritual growth. Needs a new keyboard. The Ingo Swan page on Reddit is wild right now. Huh. Hey, Ravenmore. If you just joined, I stumbled on this raven feather today. So no worries. Emilius, how did you piss the Vatican off? And how did you know that you pissed them off? Okay. All right. I'm going to get back to, it's 717, 717 on my end. Of course, I turned my phone off because I was trying to fix things, so I can't really show you that it's 717. Unless it stays there for long enough for my phone to boot up. But another palindrome, 717. I'm still seeing the Apple on my phone, of course. It's taking its sweet ass time. Come on. There you go. 717. Okay. And it just turned to 718 as soon as I was able to show that. Okay. A few other things. All right. Let's get back to the scheduled programming. All right. So now we're on the Jacques Vallée. We talked about Charles Fort and how he was similar to Keel's The Eighth Tower. So Jacques Vallée's UFO control system theories. French-American computer scientist and ufologist Jacques Vallée was a contemporary of Keel who shared remarkably similar views on UFOs. Keel's books, like Passport to Magonia, 1969, and The Invisible College, 1975, argued that UFO encounters are not extraterrestrial visits, but part of a long-standing phenomenon that has taken different forms in folklore and history. Vallée noted that the parallels between modern alien abductions and ancient fairy abduction myths, much as Keel did in The Invisible College. Vallée introduced the idea of the UFO phenomenon as a control system, essentially a mechanism that presents stage dramas intended to influence humans' cultural and human culture and consciousness. Rather than random visitors, UFOs might be deliberately shaping our beliefs or testing our reactions. This mirrors Keel's assertion that ultraterrestrials cultivate belief systems and then produce phenomenon to reinforce these beliefs. Vallée speculated that some other intelligence could be behind the UFO masquerade, possibly to subtly guide human societal evolution. For example, he pointed to symbol-laden UFO encounters or visionary experiences like apparitions of the Virgin Mary as communications designed to teach or adjust us. Keel and Vallée came to many of the same conclusions independently. Both rejected the ETH. Both linked, again, the extraterrestrial hypothesis for those just joining. Both linked UFOs to older myths, and both saw intentionality behind the phenomenon. It's no surprise that Keel's work is often mentioned in the same breath as Vallée's. In fact, an editorial review of The Eighth Tower noted it is a UFO book in the revisionist tradition of Vallée and Dr. J. Allen Hynek, accepting UFOs as real but rejecting the extraterrestrial interpretation in favor of something stranger. So for readers interested in Keel's ideas, Vallée's Passport to Magonia is a classic on folklore, UFO parallels, and Messengers of Deception of 1979 further explores how UFO beliefs might be manipulated by hidden forces or even human covert groups. Occult and esoteric predecessors, Keel's ultraterrestrial hypothesis has antecedents in occult literature as well. One influence was N. Mead Lane, an early paranormal researcher who, in the late 1940s, proposed an etheric interpretation of flying saucers. Lane suggested UFOs come from an invisible adjacent realm, the etheric plane, and their occupants are ethereal beings, an idea Keel directly built upon, substituting Lane's etheric realm for his own superspectrum concept. In the 1950s, writer Raymond Palmer, editor of Flying Saucers magazine, and Richard Shaver put forth a controversial Shaver mystery, alleging that malign subterranean beings, quote-unquote Deros, were behind many UFO and Fortean phenomena. Keel referenced these shape-shifting Deros in comparison to his ultraterrestrials, agreeing that the entities were deceptive and controlling. Another work, Morning of the Magicians, in 1960 by Lois Pauwels and Jacques Berger, while more focused on occultism and secret societies, introduced a popular readership to the notion of hidden influences and ancient extraterrestrials affecting history. Notably, Berger echoes Fort by saying, "We are the property of an unknown master," in his own writing. Okay. All these works contributed to a milieu in which Keel's theories found resonance. Other books on hidden realities, several other authors echo aspects of the Eighth Tower. Fortean researcher John Mitchell in The Flying Saucer Vision, 1967, suggests that Lay's ancient sites and UFOs may be part of an unseen landscape of forces, a concept compatible with Keel's idea of localized window areas of high strangeness. Brad Steiger, a prolific paranormal author mentioned by Keel's publisher as a fellow revisionist, wrote books like Gods of Aquarius, which posited multidimensional entities influencing human spirituality. Whitley Strieber, known for Communion in 1987, eventually leaned toward an interdimensional or spiritual explanation for the visitors he encountered rather than a simple alien one, a shift that followers of Keel and Vallée could appreciate. In more recent times, researcher Patrick Harpur, Daemonic Reality of 1994, synthesized folklore, ufology, and psychology to argue that all anomalous encounters stem from a trickster-like realm of imagination reality, the demonic realm, essentially a modern restatement of the superspectrum concept. And in The Trickster and the Paranormal, George P. Hansen examines how phenomena seem to subvert themselves and play games with investigators, reflecting many observations Keel made about the elusive, tricksterish nature of ultraterrestrials. It's also worth noting the influence the Eighth Tower and similar works have had on pop culture and conspiracy lore. Ideas of a hidden hand guiding human destiny or of UFOs as a cover for demonic forces crop up in countless novels, films, and fringe theories. For example, the ancient aliens theory popularized on TV is actually a more materialist's twist on Keel's concept. In both cases, ancient gods and modern aliens might be one and the same, though Keel would say they're neither aliens nor gods, but something in between. The Matrix film franchise of 1999 introduced mainstream audiences to the idea of living in an illusion maintained by higher powers, a sci-fi parallel to Keel's Cosmic Manipulators. While Keel's work remained niche, its core themes resonate in the enduring question, is there more to reality than we perceive? And if so, who or what is responsible? Many authors, from Forteans to futurists, have grappled with that question, making the Eighth Tower a notable entry in a long line of paranormal and conspiratorial exploration. Beyond its catalog of bizarre phenomena, the Eighth Tower ventures into profound philosophical territory. Keel's theory challenges our understanding of reality, consciousness, and humanity's place in the cosmos. In tying together paranormal events with a controlling superspectrum intelligence, Keel was essentially proposing a new metaphysics, a model of the universe where reality as we know it is a thin slice of a much larger hidden continuum. This leads to several intriguing implications. Keel's work suggests that human perception is severely limited and easily deceived. If ultraterrestrials can manipulate what we see by projecting forms we expect, be it an angel or a spaceship, then our conscious experience of reality is malleable. Keel was fond of saying that we often see what we want to see when confronted with the unknown. He documented cases where multiple witnesses in the same vicinity reported different-looking craft or entities, reinforcing the idea that these manifestations tailor themselves to the observer. This aligns with theories in consciousness studies that perception is partly a projection of the mind. Keel also delved into topics like ultrasensory perception, ESP, in the book treating psychic abilities as interactions with the superspectrum. In one chapter, he cites experiments. So this is, for example, Cleve Baxter's work with plants to suggest that mind and bioenergy can interface with that hidden realm. All this implies a panpsychic or animistic universe, one where mind and matter interpenetrate. Keel stops short of offering a full philosophy of mind, but he hints that what we call reality is a co-creation of human consciousness and superspectrum signals. Our normal waking reality could be just one frequency. Through meditation, altered states, or even technological means, we might tune into other frequencies, though Keel also warns that this can be dangerous, as many contactees and occultists have found when dealing with these trickster entities. Okay, so there's Gnostic and esoteric parallels. So readers and scholars have noticed that the Eighth Tower worldview strongly resembles Gnosticism, the ancient belief system that sees the material world as an illusion crafted by an inferior deity or deity. Indeed, Keel can be seen as a modern Gnostic of the paranormal. As one analysis puts it, Keel conveyed that the world is basically illusory, a sinister sham set up by a stupid deity who is messing with us. In Gnostic myth, human souls are trapped by false gods, archons, and need special knowledge, gnosis, to escape the deception. In Keel's account, humanity is likewise ensnared by false gods, the ultra-terrestrial pretenders that have masqueraded as our deities, prophets, aliens, etc. The stupid deity in Gnosticism could be likened to Keel's amoral cosmic force, the Eighth Tower, which treats us as experimental subjects. Keel knows that the sacred is also the scared, as one commentator cleverly noted, meaning our holy encounters might actually be terrifying manipulations. The cynical view of divine phenomena has much in common with esoteric interpretations of reality. Keel even speculated that occult rituals in ancient religions were early human attempts to understand our bargain with the superspectrum. In the Eighth Tower, he references how forbidden religions may have formed around those who learned to tap into the hidden energy field. Concepts like astral planes or etheric bodies in theosophy and spiritualism also align with Keel's ideas, essentially earlier vocabularies for layers of reality beyond the visible. It's fitting that the term ultra-terrestrial was lifted from an occultist lexicon. Keel's work bridges lore from demonology and magic. He calls ufology demonology in some sense. with a futuristic UFO narrative. The metaphysical implication is that magic, religion, and ufology are all studying the same underlying hidden realm by different names. Keel's notion that God is light, God is energy, basically an electromagnetic field permeating the universe, is another striking element. In The Cosmic Question, the UK edition of The Eighth Tower, Keel wrote that an energy field pervades everything and perhaps feeds off the energy of living things. This sounds like a scientific twist on the divine, an impersonal force rather than a personified God. It also eerily anticipates popular culture. As noted by Terrence Hanley, Keel's description predates Star Wars yet resembles Obi-Wan Kenobi's definition of the Force that surrounds us and penetrates us, binding the galaxy together. The difference is Keel's version of the Force might also toy with us and eat us in terms of absorbing emotional energy, perhaps. There are echoes here of the Lush mythos, the idea that unseen entities feed on human emotions, and of esoteric energy concepts like prana or chi being part of a grand cosmic system. In any case, Keel invites a view of reality where matter, energy, and consciousness are part of one continuum, a continuum accessible to and manipulated by higher intelligences with uncertain motives. Another modern framework that the Eighth Tower resonates with is the simulation hypothesis, the notion that our reality could be a programmed illusion. While Keel did not use computer metaphors, because he wrote in the 1970s, his depiction of humans as objects in a hidden game is anomalous to saying that we lived in a design simulation. Keel wrote that mankind could be wired into the superspectrum like experimental subjects with ultra-terrestrial technicians tweaking the dials. This is not far from science fiction writer Philip K. Dick's revelation around the same time that the world is a kind of black iron prison. In history, an imposed illusion, an idea Dick shared in a famous 1977 speech, essentially claiming what seems real isn't real at all, which again is a direct parallel to Keel's thesis. Today's thinkers draw parallels between Gnostic cosmology and the simulation theory, the demiurge as a programmer, etc. Keel's work slots into this discourse neatly. He provides paranormal evidence for the notion that reality might be rigged. If there is a master tower sending out control signals or a cosmic computer running various subroutines like the UFO flap in West Virginia in 1967, then our quest for truth might indeed be like Neo in The Matrix, noticing a glitch. Keel, of course, framed it in terms of angels and aliens rather than code and AI, but the philosophical thrust is similar. Don't trust your perceptions. Seek the hidden infrastructure of reality. So John Keel's The Eighth Tower has left a lasting imprint on how many people approach the paranormal. In UFO cycles, or circles, his ultra-terrestrial hypothesis, along with Vallee's work, paved the way for what's now called the interdimensional hypothesis for UFOs, the idea that UFOs come from other dimensions or realities rather than other planets. Researchers in the 1970s, like Hynek and Vallee, discussed interlocking universes and interdimensional windows as alternatives to nuts and bolts spacecraft. These seeds planted by Keel and peers have borne fruit in contemporary ufology. Many current UFO researchers readily talk about portals, parallel worlds, or ultra-terrestrials when making sense of high strangeness cases. For example, the bizarre events at Skinwalker Ranch in Utah have often been explained with an IDH-style model. The term ultra-terrestrial itself is now part of the paranormal lexicon, frequently used on forums, podcasts, and paranormal media to denote entity encounters that don't fit the extraterrestrial mold. Keel's ideas also anticipated the trickster theory of the paranormal. The notion that phenomena play games, resist conclusiveness, and often have absurd or theatrical elements has become widely acknowledged, thanks in part to Keel documenting these aspects. Paranormal investigation groups that emphasize high strangeness, which is a term popularized by Hynek, owe a debt to Keel's insistence on looking at all the weird data, not just the tidy cases. For instance, ghost hunters who consider UFO sightings or poltergeist activity in the same haunted area, or cryptozoologists who take note of coincident UFO sightings during creature reports are following Keel's integrative approach. All right, let's take a break. I'm going to go blind if I keep reading this stuff. Let's see. Okay. I'll just roll straight through this. Sorry, I'm just racing through this. Huh. So Beats by Jera writes, Messengers of Deception is great. Shows how the government has been staging abductions since the 60s. Okay, so Roger Claiborne is writing, real aliens, according to Greer, are angelic in nature, but government is doing psyops to make people think they are demonic. Abductions are us doing psyops to make the real seem bad. Yeah, I think Greer's wrong about that. We don't have the resources to do that kind of stuff. All right, I'm just racing through this. Yeah, so Scott Ian is writing, I feel like both ends of the spectrum are likely true. Ultra-terrestrials alongside garden variety aliens, more similar to us in essence. Yeah, who knows? Maybe. Um, Sorry, I just gotta. The heck? Yeah, I have like messages just disappearing, which is great. Really helpful. Um, all right. All right, let's continue. All right. In the realm of conspiracy theory, the eighth tower offers an almost mythological grand conspiracy, not of governments, but of reality itself. This theme has trickled into various fringe beliefs. Some modern conspiracy theorists, for example, suggest that the elites or secret societies are in contact with interdimensional beings, sometimes framed as demons or archons who actually run the show. Such claims, while extreme, echo the narrative Keel puts forth about hidden towers of power and ancient forbidden knowledge. Even in entertainment, shows like The X-Files and Fringe that blended government conspiracies with paranormal phenomena can be seen as spiritual successors to the world Keel described, with a line between a shadow government and the supernatural forces, or between a shadow government and supernatural forces blurs. Ultimately, the Eighth Tower challenges readers to broaden their ontological assumptions. It proposes that the universe is far stranger and more populated than we imagine, and that our minds are only perceiving a keyhole view of the limitless superspectrum. Keel's work stands at an intersection of paranormal research, conspiracy theory, and metaphysical speculation, whether one takes his conclusions at face value or not. His provocative synthesis has spurred debate and inspired many to question the official reality we are given. As Keel himself often advised, when confronting incredible stories and phenomena, believe nothing. Instead, he invites us to consider the possibility that truth might be lurking just beyond the visible spectrum. And that mysterious eighth tower that remains for now out of sight. Let me re-say that. Instead, he considers us to consider the possibility that truth may be lurking just beyond the visible spectrum, in that mysterious eighth tower that remains, for now, out of sight. Sorry, I had to. All right, I got finished sooner than I was expecting, which is good because that was way too much. Ugh. All right, so that's the end. So we still have about 30 minutes, but I think that was a little bit more helpful. I'll just throw that down there while I'm thinking about it. And let's look at the comments. Okay, Raven Moore 33. I do believe it's a lot more humans who have contributed to all of this confusion, and maybe man didn't realize the consequences of doing certain things. Like, um, letting off tons of nuclear weapons. Roger Claiborne is saying maybe we get to decide a little of it by thinking them one or the other with stronger conviction. Yeah, it's possible. I believe that spirit has attached all these technologies. Maybe humans are electric. Yeah, we're definitely electric. I mean, that's a scientific fact, right? Our entire nervous system's work is an electrical system, for sure, with electrical impulses and all that good stuff. So, all right. By the way, I wonder if there's no way for me to run a poll. I'm sure there is, but I have to pay somebody money in order to do it. But which background do you like? Do you all like the one you currently see? We'll just call this A. We'll call this background A, and then we'll call this one background B. Okay. So just tell me A or B. A or B. And we'll go back. This is background A, B. A, B, A. All right, so that's 2 for A, 1 for B, 3 for A. 4 to 1 so far. They both have owls. The other one has an owl too. It just gets cut off by the. Yeah, I think I only see. I'm now just counting B's. I only see 2 B's so far. I think A is the right one too. Oh man. Yeah. 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 This kind of covers the geopolitical element of it. So maybe I can start replacing the other image with some version of this. My grandmother's house was haunted, so I like B. So the left, so it frames your. Yeah, it's AI. If I tell AI to make any changes, it'll be something entirely. Although I do have a weird idea. Hold on. Let me think through this. Uh, okay. Let's see if I can do this. in real time. It'll be amazing if I can do this in real time. Okay. Um, Bear with me, folks. Just have to figure out where I put this thing. Here we go. All right, I hope this is the right one. Yep. Okay. All right. If this works, it'll be pretty funny or amazing. Let's see. Cheap viewers on Streamboo. Okay. All right, let's see. Now I gotta find it again. Okay. All right, that's not great, but all right, that's better. All right, sorry I'm so quiet. I'm just trying to do this in a semi-intelligent way. Sorry. So I'm literally producing something real time. So if I wasn't so slow at finding things, it would be we would be pretty much good to go by now. We're almost there. All right. So let's take this. Okay, and then all right, how do I want to do this? Go to settings. All right, I can't quite do that, which is not that surprising. All right, but I can do this. All right. Check comments really quickly. Okay, here we go. Let me know what you think of this. Huh. See if I loop it. Let's see. All right, anyway. I just fed it in. I fed the image into Sora, and that's what it produced. So let me know what you think. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's probably B plus. It could be better, but I mean, I literally just fed it in, and that's what popped out. So yeah, they're doing blood types right now. Oops. Huh. Let's see. People not putting their blood types or what? Whoops. There we go. Sorry, I almost lost the almost lost the tab. A sonar overlay from the owl. Yeah, you can't really control what Sora pops out. What is the nil type? I've never heard of that before. Huh. Yeah. So Yes, there's a very rare blood type known as Rh null, sometimes informally referred to as nil blood. This blood type is extremely rare with fewer than 50 known individuals worldwide. Why is Rh null? It lacks all Rh antigens, proteins, that are typically present on red blood cells. It was first discovered in 1961. Due to its extreme rarity, Rh null is often called golden blood because it can be used as a universal donor for people with rare Rh-related blood conditions. Rh null blood is highly valuable for transfusions in certain medical emergencies. People with this blood type can only receive Rh null blood, making it crucial to maintain a donor network. Oh my God. Its rarity makes it difficult to store in blood banks, and donors are closely tracked worldwide. Wow. That's not a good blood type. That's not a good blood type to have. That sucks. Huh. Yeah, it's the first I heard of it too. It's like 50 people in the world with it. So they have to be tracked. Oh my God. That's not like it doesn't sound like it's very adaptive. Oh, yikes. I never heard of it before. But anyway, I feel like you can use this as like a little pen. I don't know what I should be doing with it, but oh man. I'm just curious if they like I want to see where most of those people are located. Interesting. So it's mostly looks like it's mostly let's see. So most individuals with Rh null blood are scattered across the world, but a significant number have been found in indigenous groups in Australia and parts of Africa. However, due to the extreme rarity of this blood type, fewer than 50 known individuals worldwide, their exact locations are not widely disclosed for privacy and medical reasons. So key locations where Rh null has been found. So Australia, the first known case was discovered in an Aboriginal Australian in 1961. France, France and Europe. I guess France is not in Europe, but um, I don't know why ChatGPT would separate the two. So France and Europe. Some documented cases exist in France. France's National Blood Service is known to store Rh null blood for emergencies. Africa, certain populations have shown a slightly higher occurrence. Asia and the Middle East, a few cases have been recorded in these regions. Yeah, so obviously it's because of privacy concerns. You can't really give you people's specific names for obvious reasons. Let's see. Yeah, it's not a crow feather. It's a raven feather. There's no crows. At least this is definitely a raven feather. because that's where ravens operate. I've never seen a crow up in that area. So yeah, I didn't I I have been on this earth for almost half a century, and I have never heard of nil. Hey, I'm rolling with Boner Dice. Good to see you. No wig this week. Lots of B pluses out there. Well, in the U.S., um, ravens ravens are much larger. So crows are smaller, right? A raven, like you might have like a 6 foot wingspan. They're massive out here. They're huge. They're as big as hawks or eagles. Like they're big birds. Crows, I like if you see crows around here, they're like usually hang out in like parking lots and stuff like that. They're a lot smaller, right? They're like the size of seagulls, or they're just not as big. They're tiny. Okay, I'm glad people universally seem to like the new background. All right. Well, good morning, Soulite. Huh. Yeah. I mean, they're both corvids. They're both the same. Like they're from the same genus. I think that would be a genus. Yeah. But I mean, you can also definitely tell from their size. Like ravens are enormous. Oh yeah, I didn't know magpies were corvids. Probably are. But I can say with confidence, I have never seen a raven, or sorry, I've never seen a crow anywhere near my house. But I see ravens daily. Let's pull the banner down. What else? About 8 more minutes. So Alaskan king crows. I never heard of those, but I believe you. Oh, Alaskan king ravens. Okay, I can imagine. Actually, I'm curious. I should actually look that up. All right, let's see. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, so what ChatGPT is telling me, it's called the common raven, so the Corvus corax, which is found where I am, has a wingspan ranging from 3.3 to 4.9 feet. So for those operating on the metric system, that's 100 to 150 centimeters. So maybe not quite 6 feet, but they're pretty big. Let's see. Huh, that's weird. Ravens will mob great horned owls to drive them away from their territory. Owls, in turn, prey on young ravens when given the chance. Huh. I didn't know that they had natural rivalry. Okay. Wow. Let's see. Interesting. Yeah, I believe that. I'm south of like Chico. It's a yes sir or no sir, but if you're talking to a lady, it's a yes ma'am, no. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yeah. Great horned owls are actually very impressive creatures. Time. Oh man. Okay. It feels like we're kind of winding down. What do folks want to talk about in the last 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Oh man. Yeah. Lone Wolf 78. Yeah, just jumped on my break. Uh See the Kardashians doing UFO pod. Yeah, like by the way, I think Chloe's always been into it. She actually had Preston Dennett on some Netflix show that they had one point. Interesting. I'm rooting for the owls, no offense, but cats like are bird murderers. They kill some disproportionate number of birds every year. Like they're you know. Huh. Interesting. Lake Will, sorry, just up. Bach Tower Gardens has three ley lines that intersect there. Sesh Harry, who wrote the handprint of Atlas, where he says Earth's axis was made by other intelligences. Wow, the river in Argentina turning blood red among. Oh. Scott A. on his writing, have you heard the theory that hummingbirds and bumblebees create a vortex with their wing flaps and fly by that rather than normal propulsion? I could see that. I mean, I have both hummingbirds and bumblebees. The bumblebees aren't back yet, but the bees are back in my backyard because spring kind of just started. So the bumblebees will be back soon. But hummingbirds are here year round. So yeah, I believe that. Okay, I can. I mean, I haven't reached out to him in a while, but yeah, the bees don't like the bees are great. They don't bother me. It's kind of weird. They'll just like as long as you're not aggressive, they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. Oh, I didn't know they nested in the ground. Interesting. 100%. Like I'll walk right by them. They never hurt me. I've never been stung in my entire life. Uh, knock on wood. But I don't know why. But um, they've been pretty. Bees have always been gentle around me. I would just ignore them. I mean, I'm not worried about it because like people, low IQ people don't watch my podcast, but they watch the Cardassian podcast. So there's literally no overlap in the audience. Ah, yeah, I've heard there's some, but I do not have B positive blood, so I'm not worried. Oh yeah, hornets are yeah, wasps not good. If I see wasps, I walk the other way. Like those things are malicious. Like they're like straight up evil. All right, all. I need to head out. I got to go to work tomorrow and all that fun stuff. So, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. And keep listening to us on uh, United Public Radio, and also obviously through a Glass Darkly Radio and through a Glass Darkly. So, peace out, everybody. Have a good evening. Good night. God bless.